Hello, I am the Healthy Gamer. You are watching another Healthy Gamer video. The only videos on YouTube scientifically proven to make you sexier and more attractive. It's science, guys. If you don't believe me, go read a book. In this video, I'll be showing you the new build I've been using to successfully solo the last part of Inferno. This is post-nerf, so this is after they nerfed BOP on Mantra of Healing and after they nerfed the Spirit Regeneration on the Quickening Rune of Fists of Thunder. And now for your healthy tip of this video, every time you zone in to a new level, make a conscious effort to take 3 or 4 deep breaths. Breathing seems like such a simple thing, but studies have shown that most people actually don't breathe correctly and they don't get the optimal amount of oxygen to their brain as a consequence. So if you make a conscious effort to breathe deeply more often, then you'll find that you can have more energy and you'll be more mentally alert, which will translate into being a better Diablo player. Now I'll go over the item build and stats I used for this farming run, my actual build, and then I'll give you some gameplay footage of the build in action. For this run, I'm still using a one-hander and a shield. Got a 714 DPS one-hander. My shield has a bunch of vitality and dexterity and then more fire resistance. My DPS right now is at 13,237. Dexterity is at 1224. I have 32% chance to block. My armor gives me 55% mitigation. All of my resists are at 50.41%. And my max life is 36,930. Not 36,000 like in an earlier video. I also sacrificed a few stats for Magic Find. My Magic Find is at plus 45%. I found that I was able to survive pretty easily, so I was able to sacrifice some vitality and a little bit of dexterity for extra Magic Find. And when you're doing Magic Find stats, you still want to find items with pretty good stats. My shoulders, and you really want to find a gemmed helm. That's super useful. Look, my helm right now, it has really good stats, and it's also giving me 23% chance to find magical items. So those are the kinds of things you want to look for when you're making your farming builds. Alright, I'll give you a real quick overview of these skills, and then I'll link to them in the description, and you can look at it in more depth. Using Fists of Thunder with Quickening. Again, I found the critical hits is still pretty effective in generating spirit. It's not like infinite spirit like it was before, but it's still pretty effective. Lashing Tail Kick with the stun, it just helps you to survive, especially the big packs when you can stun everything so they're not really even hitting you. And then Sweeping Wind, rather than Blaze Storm, I'm using Inner Storm to gain 3 spirit per second. This is to try to compensate for the loss of spirit from the bug that they fixed in Quickening. Serenity with the 4-second bubble. Breath of Heaven, increasing your DPS by 15% for 45 seconds. That's pretty huge. Let me show you how much it increases my DPS. I go from 1300 to 1500. Okay, and then Mantra of Healing. I have it runed out to regenerate 3 spirit per second again. Again, to compensate for the lack of the infinite spirit. Now Transcendence Resolve. With Resolve, you can either pick Resolve or Seize the Initiative. I think Resolve is better if you can stand toe-to-toe with mobs and just knock them out, but if you have to kite a lot more, I think Seize the Initiative would be better. And then One with Everything, just because I've been stacking Fire Resist rather than Resist All. If you have good Resist All, then this slot can be freed up for something else. Here's some gameplay footage. I'll explain to you what I'm doing and how I'm using these skills. Whenever I start off a fight, I will activate Sweeping Wind, and then I'll make sure my healing mantra is refreshed. I'll use my, whatever that big heal is that gives me the 15% attack damage increase. I'll use that offensively and make sure it's up. That 45 seconds is pretty long, so you can hit it and forget about it. I will also use my Serenity Bubble offensively. A lot of times, like these big guys, when they swing, rather than running away, if that Serenity Bubble is up, I'll just pop the bubble and let that big hit get absorbed so that I can stay in and generate spirit and do lots of DPS. That lashing tail kick is still pretty important to survival. Oh, there's a treasure goblin. I love these treasure goblins. And with the resist, I find in Act 1, if you have about 50% resist, you can do pretty well against all kinds of different packs. These molten guys used to really, really hurt, but now I can almost stand in their fire and be just fine. Again, you see there I'm using that bubble offensively. Rather than running away from some of those freezing orbs, I just pop the bubble to go back in there and go back in the fight. And you can see that there's a little bit of kiting involved in this. It's not quite as easy mode as the Infinite Spirit with the 15% BOP ruin, but it's still pretty easy. You see the Spirit regen is still pretty decent. That's all I have for you today. If you found this video to be helpful and of use, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button and if you would share it on your social media. Stay active, stay fit. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.